the quiet African village of Elais, surrounded by thick forest and red earth roads, there was one rule every child knew by heart. Never touch the sacred pot. It sat inside a small shrine at the center of the village, guarded by carved wooden statues and marked with white chalk symbols. No one entered the shrine except the elders. They said the pot was older than the village itself. They said it held something that must never be released. But children are curious. And curiosity does not listen to warnings. Among the children of Elais was a boy named Tond. He was 15, slim and restless, with dark skin, bright curious eyes, and short coiled black hair. He wore a simple faded wrapper tied around his waist and often wondered where he was not supposed to go. While others feared the shrine, Tond was drawn to it. What could be inside a pot that scares grown men, he once whispered to himself. One afternoon, while the villagers gathered in the market for a festival, the shrine stood empty. Tond saw his chance. He walked quietly past the mud houses, past the old baobab tree, and stopped in front of the shrine. For a moment, he hesitated. Then he stepped inside. The air was cool and still. Sunlight slipped through cracks in the walls, lighting the sacred pot placed at the center of the room. It was large, made of dark clay, covered in strange symbols that seemed to move when you stared too long. Tond's heart pounded. "This is just a pot," he said. Slowly, he reached out. The moment his fingers touched it, a cold shiver ran through his body. But instead of pulling back, he smiled. Then he lifted the lid. At first, nothing happened. Then, a thin black smoke rose from the pot. Tond stepped back. The smoke twisted and grew thicker, rising higher and higher until it touched the roof of the shrine. Then it formed a shape. A face. Red glowing eyes opened in the darkness. A deep voice echoed through the room. "Who has freed me?" Tond fell backwards in fear. I didn't mean to." The smoke burst outward, knocking him to the ground as it rushed out of the shrine and into the sky. A terrible wind swept through the village. The sky darkened. People screamed and ran as the black cloud spread across the land. From within the smoke, a monstrous figure began to form. It was tall and shadowy, with long arms, sharp claws and burning red eyes that glowed like fire. The elders dropped to their knees in horror. "The spirit of the pot," one whispered. "It has been released." The monster let out a roar that shook the earth. Animals fled. Children cried. Darkness spread across the village as though night had come too early. Tond ran through the chaos, his heart filled with fear. "What have I done?" he cried. As he reached the edge of the village, an old voice called out to him. "Tond." He turned. An old woman stood beneath a tree. Her skin was wrinkled, her eyes sharp and wise. She held a carved staff that glowed faintly with blue light. "I warned them this day would come," she said. Tond fell to his knees. "I didn't know," he cried. "I didn't know." The old woman stepped closer. "The pot did not create the monster," she said. "It only held it prisoner." She looked toward the dark sky. "Now you must help return it." Tond shook his head. "I can't fight that thing." "You must," she said firmly. "Because it is bound to you now." At that moment, the monster turned its glowing eyes toward them. It roared and began to move toward Tond. The ground trembled beneath its steps. "Run!" the old woman shouted. They ran into the forest. Branches whipped against Tond's skin as he struggled to keep up. Behind them, the monster tore through trees, its roar echoing through the land. At last, they reached a hidden cave. Inside, ancient drawings covered the walls, images of warriors, spirits, and the sacred pot. The old woman pointed to one drawing. It showed a boy holding the pot while a spirit was being drawn back inside. "The only way to stop it," she said, "is to return it to the pot before sunrise." But the pot is in the shrine, Ton said. Then we must go back. Ton's fear was clear. But slowly, something else rose inside him. Courage. I will fix this, he said. They returned to the village as the monster destroyed everything in its path. Houses burned. People hid. The sky was black with smoke. At the center of the village, the sacred pot lay where Ton had dropped it. The monster stood above it, waiting, as if it knew. Ton stepped forward. I am the one who freed you, he shouted. The monster turned. Its red eyes locked onto him. Then you will be the first to fall. It lunged. At the last moment, Ton grabbed the pot. The old woman struck the ground with her staff, sending a wave of blue light across the village. Now, she shouted. The wind reversed. The black smoke began to pour toward the pot. The monster roared in anger as its body started to break apart. Piece by piece, it was dragged back into the pot. Ton held on with all his strength as the force tried to pull him in as well. Then, silence. The last of the smoke vanished into the pot. Ton slammed the lid shut. The sky cleared. The wind stopped. The village fell into silence. For a long moment, nobody moved. Then the elders approached slowly. The old woman smiled. You have learned, she said. Ton looked at the pot, his hands still shaking. Yes, he whispered. From that day on, the sacred pot remained sealed. And Ton. He became its guardian. Because some mistakes are too dangerous to repeat.